Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the 11th house, which is also a Kama house, which deals with our connection to other people, because the Kama houses are relative to the air signs. So the 11th house does connect with the air sign Aquarius. The 11th house represents friends, groups, organizations, the people that we connect with, as well as the oldest sibling. Yes, the 11th house will deal with the eldest sibling. And many times if you have a powerful planet, such as Rahu in the 11th house, then you're the oldest one. And in a few cases where you're not the eldest one, you will have a very powerful sibling, older than you. Now, another thing, because Rahu, if Rahu's in the 11th house, and the 11th house is these friends and groups, it means you will know very, very influential people in your life when Rahu's in the 11th house. It is definitely a given there. Now, when I talk about the Kama houses in terms of connecting to others, it's friends, it's our connections to groups and major organizations, the type of people that we spend time with. It is a very, very social house. It deals with social interaction. And also the 11th house will deal with not only powerful people, but all friends. So the planets that you have in the 11th house will tell you the kind of people that you like to hang out with. If you have Ketu in the 11th house, you love the outcasts in society, the ones that are unusual, different. I want to say weird, but weird in my category is usually a good thing. So the very unusual people in the world would be the kind of people you gravitate to, and the people that you want to save and help. That's K2 would be in the 11th house. So going to the 11th house, there's one specific meaning that I find that nobody really knows of. And this came to me one time in a deep state of meditation, trying to figure out a certain something that happened in a chart of a famous person. I was trying to understand. It was actually when I was studying about the Gallo brothers, and I include this in my first book. But the Gallo brothers, in their charts, well, one of them in particular, they witnessed their parents in a fight where the father shot and killed the mother, and the mother killed the father. I can't remember if it was it was the father, yes, that shot and killed the mother, and somehow they both died. I think then he killed himself. That's what happened, in front of their two sons. Now the Gallo brothers, yes, they're the ones that have Gallo wine in California. They're no longer here anymore. They died a while ago. But to make a long story short, I couldn't figure out how such a tragedy would be reflected in the chart. And while I was meditating, really racking my brain, a voice said, look from house to house. And it dawned on me that the 4th house is the mother. And if you count 8 houses from the 4th, the 11th house is the 8th from the 4th, therefore depicting the mother's death and terrible life and psychological problems. Because it's the mother's 8th house. So if you start from the 4th house, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9, 10, 11, you can see it's about the 8th house from the 4th, the mother's death. It's been said to be the house of adoption, because if you have major planets in the 11th house, you could be adopted, because it's the 8th from the 4th. You were separated in birth from the mother. It was the death of the mother. The 11th house is also said to be the house of great gains. This was never, ever taught to me in Western astrology. This was a new concept. And I think the reason why is the 11th house is the 12th house from the 12th house, which means the loss of suffering, which is gains. So you can see how these houses really do get their meanings in how they're all coordinated and related to each other. This is numbers, this is meaning, this is the order of the universe, this divine order. And don't ever forget that when you're looking at the 11th house and you see first-rate malefics there will be issues with the mother in terms of her life, maybe an early death, maybe great difficulty, or psychological problems. You'll see that. It works this way. It's incredible, really, when I think about how these houses, these 12 houses, depict our entire lifetime and how we're related to other people. Why the mother's life would be so described through your own chart. Your siblings, your older sibling, all of these things are here. Look from house to house. And like I said in my book, The Divine Order of the Universe, that's what I do. I go from every house to every house, how they're interrelated, as well as the ruler of a house placed in a different house, how that connects the different houses. The houses are the platform, the stage that the planets really do converse on, where they play out their energies. And if you have a better understanding of the houses, you will be a better astrologer. You will see things that no one can see. You can't just look at the 11th house as the generality of friends and groups. It's so much deeper than that. It even represents, since it's relative to the sign Aquarius, humanity. And actually the sign Leo and Aquarius are more about kings and humanity and politics than any other houses or signs. The 5th and the 11th. The 11th house. And if you know the stars that are in the constellation of Aquarius, it looks like a cloud. Why? Because there's so many groupings of stars there in Aquarius that it looks like a cloud. It represents the masses of humanity. Whereas when you go to the opposite sign, Leo, which is kingships and rulers, there's one powerful star there that is clearly represented and seen, and it's Regulus, the heart of the lion, which represents leaders and kings. But my point is, the 11th house, as well as the sign Aquarius, deals with humanity, humanitarian efforts, groups that we come together to help one another and heal. And friends, we all need our friends to help and guide us. One more meaning for the 11th house, it is the 6th from the 6th. So starting from the 6th house, you will arrive at the 11th, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And that can mean our ultimate healing. That's where we start to heal. And that can really represent transits through there if somebody will ultimately heal from a problem or disease. I often say that it's also being the 6th from the 6th. If you consider the 6th house being enemies, and you go 6 houses from the 6th and you arrive at the 11th, then our enemies' enemies is our friends. And that's the 11th house. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like more information on me or like to study Vedic astrology, check out my website, which is galacticcenter.org. Or if you would like to learn Vedic astrology, take this to the next level, join our community of astrologers, go to my university website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.